I call to order this regular meeting of the Monument Town Council, Monday, December 1st, 2025. Please rise for the pledge.
Nope.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Mayor LaKind,
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Here.
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Fiorito,
Here.
Councilmember Chronic,
Here.
Councilmember Kimple,
Here.
Councilmember Abbott.
Here.
Thank you.
And Mr. Cole, you're here too?
Yes, sir, I am.
Awesome. Can we have the volume turned up just a little bit, please? Thank you. All right. Any disclosures of conflicts of interest?
Mr. Mayor, I have not received any notices of any conflicts for matters on the agenda for tonight.
Great, thank you. And then before us, we have our agenda and our consent agenda. Is there any modifications to either?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Excellent. Have a motion and a second.
Dana, I can take a verbal vote from you.
Approve. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm struggling with Civic Plus. I'm figuring it out.
Thank you.
Okay, that motion passes 7-0. We have a lot on our agenda tonight. So we'll just dive right into it. First up, we have several public hearing items. First one being ordinance 22-2025. An ordinance granting approval of the final plan unit development for Santa Fe Business Park Lot 2, Terrazzo Baja Commercial Development, located at the northwest corner of Terrazzo Drive in La Campana. Mr. Ungelleiter, you're with us remotely?
I am. I'm coming to you live from Chicago, buried in snow. Before I get to go on too far, I just want to apologize. I've got the family cold that we've been passing around for the last 4 days. So if I seem slow, it's because I am. So tonight we are presenting to you the Santa Fe Business Park development down at Terrazzo Baja Commercial. The applicant, NES Inc., on behalf of Santa Fe Park, is seeking approval of a final plan unit development for Lot 2 of the Terrazzo Baja Commercial Development for the construction of an industrial warehouse office retail facility. The proposed uses conform to the permitted uses outlined in the original approved preliminary PUD and the Terrazzo Baja Commercial Development sketch plan. Ray Medina is in the audience to kind of back me up on this presentation, as well as I believe Jason with NES is also in the audience to answer any questions that you might have. Included with staff's report are these documents, which are typically provided to you. Proof of public hearing notice, the final plan unit development plans, final drainage report for the project prepared by JR Engineering, an updated traffic generation analysis, and a draft finding of fact that was completed by the Plan Commission. The applicant again is Jason Allwine of NES Inc. It's located specifically down at the corner of La Campana and Old Denver Road, just north of Baptist. This would be the second project that's been presented to you from this overall development. To the north was most recently was the Triview Metropolitan District Admin Building that's currently under construction. So this would be the second project that's coming before you for this site. They are seeking final plan unit development approval. To the north of this property is vacant. To the east of this property is the Monument Industrial Building, which is zoned plan unit development. And to the west is vacant El Paso County property on the west side of Old Denver Road, usually described as part of the Delacrosse Ranch. The following slides are slides that were provided to us by NES. I'm just going to run through them. If you have any specific questions about these slides, as I said, I believe Jason's in the room. He might be able to answer those for you. This provides a better description of the location of Lot 2 of the Terrazzo Baja property that's in question tonight. Specifically, the site plan includes six open buildings that could be subdivided into smaller sections. Each building ranges from.
Hey, Mr.
I'm sorry.
Umberliner?
Yes.
Mr. Umberliner, I don't think we're seeing you move the slides. We're still on slide 2. No, okay, now we're seeing them.
Now you're getting. So there's the location. Sorry about that. That never happens, right, guys? Okay. So again, this is the location. La Campana. This site is down at the northeast corner of Baptist and Old Denver Road. Specifically, the Lot 2 is just north of where La Campana Drive will be entering out or exiting out into Old Denver Road, and directly to the east of this property is Monument Industrial. To the west is Delacrosse Ranch, vacant El Paso County property. And to the north are all vacant undeveloped properties until you get up to Baja Drive, which is where you'll see the Triview Metropolitan District Admin Building currently under construction. The site plan shows 6 individual properties, buildings 1 through 6. Ranging from 15,500 square feet to 22,000 square feet in size. The 2 buildings, building 1 and 2, incorporate outdoor storage and in their plans, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Inside, these units could be used for any for industrial, commercial, and retail uses. Some have described these spaces as perfect for someone who's looking at manufacturing and selling their product directly out of that building or out of their storefront within these buildings. So this would be a great location for someone who's maybe building or selling product out of their home and are looking to take the next step into manufacturing and sales. Buildings 3 and 4, and 5 and 6 share loading docks, loading dock area. Parking for the overall site actually accommodates 31,500 square feet of retail space. And parking is provided for up to 94,000 square feet of industrial, office, and warehouse space, according to our code. On-site stormwater quality and detention pond is provided along Old Denver Road and with a detention pond at the southwest corner of the property at La Campana Drive. The elevations are shown here in these images. The typical side elevation for each of the shorter of the elevations is shown at the top, while the loading dock or the storefronts along the longer elevations are shown, and there's 2 elevations below on this drawing. Building materials are also included included in your packet, a combination of siding, concrete, and roof materials. The colors are all compatible with existing landscapes typically found in this area. They've also included building renderings of the buildings, of each of the buildings, or a typical building, It's a good looking building. I don't like to give too much of an editorial, but I think it's a good looking building for what it is. It's well landscaped and parked. Other images included in your packet are these, which are looking north from La Campana or looking into the site from Terrazzo Drive. The finding of fact that the Plan Commission has provided to you in draft form is as follows: that the proposed use meets the intent of the comprehensive plan designation for the property. The final plan unit development is consistent with the approved preliminary plan unit development. On-site circulation and access are designed for the anticipated type of pedestrian and vehicular traffic generated for this site. Building design is, in terms of orientation, spacing, material, etc., are compatible with the existing and anticipated area. Landscaping is of quality design that enhances the site and is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. Adequate off-street parking, both standard and ADA accessible, is provided by code. And the final plan unit development fits within the context of the planned land use pattern and roadway and utility systems for the larger surrounding area. I'd like also, before I jump into the recommended action, I want to note that it fulfills an economic development need for the community by providing a location for businesses to move out of their home, so to speak, and take the next step in growth, providing employment opportunities as well as smaller manufacturing opportunities. The traffic plan and the stormwater plan that have been included and are being quoted as part of this plan unit development is only for phase 1 of this development, which will include 2 other sites with 2 other lots within the Terrazzo Baja development itself. Anything above and beyond that's going to require a brand new full analysis to make sure that there aren't any additional impacts to the intersection of Terrazzo and Baptist and Old Denver Road and Baptist roads. Same thing with stormwater management. We're going to take another very sharp look at both traffic and stormwater as we pass phase 1 and enter into phase 2 of this overall business park development. So the recommendation, supported by a unanimous recommendation for approval by Plan Commission, is a motion to approve ordinance number 22/2025, granting approval of the final plan unit development for Santa Fe Park, Lot 2, Terrazzo Baja Commercial Subdivision, located at the northwest corner of Terrazzo Drive and La Campana Drive, supported by the exhibits listed in the staff report as well as on this slide. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And as I said, the gentleman representing the development should be in the audience as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan, for that presentation. Anybody from the council? Let's start off with our online folks so we don't forget about them. Councilmember Smith and Councilmember Abbott, do you have anything that you'd like to ask staff or the applicant?
I actually had a quick question. I'm looking at the specs on my computer at home. Dan, when you said loading dock, are we talking like semis or vans or all of the above?
It has been designed to allow for semi-traffic in it, but the size of these units and the placement of these buildings, you're probably going to see smaller trucks utilizing the space. But it is designed in case somebody has a large delivery to bring in equipment or ship materials.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I did neglect to point out one condition that the Plan Commission did recommend, and I believe it's in the ordinance that I presented to you, is that outdoor storage. They recommended approval based on the condition that outdoor storage would not exceed 20 feet in height, and those 2 northernmost buildings. Again, to make sure that we don't have a condition where you see stored materials or cranes or whatnot above, taller than the buildings. So I apologize for not mentioning that before, but that's included in the ordinance.
Dan, I had a couple of things here, and maybe I'm missing something, but in our land development code, under section B, building features, and we're talking about these are metal buildings, right?
There is metal in the buildings, yes, or metal, yes, metal features in on the exterior of the buildings.
Okay, it looked to me like they were all metal buildings, and I think this is exactly the type of development that we really need in Monument. We're very lacking in these small kind of warehouse slash retail slash contractor use type buildings. But one thing that stood out to me was the square footage of the buildings because they were metal buildings. From what I could read, the land or our code limits those metal buildings to 20,000 square feet. These are a little bit bigger than that. So I was curious if that had been addressed in the original PD, which forgive me, I didn't have time to find the PD, but I didn't know if there was some additional requirements or some changes that were in there that went in contrast to what the code reads.
I don't have an answer for you on that. I did not. Jason, would you be able to answer to any preliminary PUD conditions that would have allowed you to do a steel building of this kind over 20,000 square feet?
Jason Allwine, NES Inc. As Dan mentioned, as far as I know, no. We've submitted. We went through 2 or 3 different rounds of comments. We're in line with the approved preliminary PUD. And I have a comparison slide if we need to talk about that, but don't recall on the design guidelines to the prelim PUD or going through the final PUD any restriction on metal buildings because we are a PUD and that does set some of the design parameters and standards with this. So that wasn't brought up at all during the process the past several months. We are quite a bit lower in height. The PUD that approved a 90-foot height. We're at 28 feet 3 inches, I think, so we're quite a bit lower. And with the varied colors and textures, we do feel it's a solid addition to this area with that mixed-use warehouse. But no specifics coming up to limiting building size that we could find or aware of on the approved prelim PUD or through this final PUD process.
Okay, thank you, Jason. The other question I had was in regards to the loading doors. So also in the code, we talk about 2 different types of loading doors: elevated truck loading docks, and then ground level garage loading doors, which is what we're looking at here. And in our code, it does specify that each building may contain a maximum of 1 ground level garage loading door per 5,000 square feet of indoor building warehouse space. Ground level being defined as plus or minus 2 feet in height from finished grade, less than 44 inches in height. But it does go on to say, and I wasn't sure how many units are in each of these buildings, so I was a little bit confused on this too. In the instance where the building has multiple tenants, each tenant is permitted a minimum of 1 ground level garage loading door when the minimum square footage is not met. So it looked like we had like 6 bay doors on that 22,000 square foot building. So I was curious if that was also like, as I had previously mentioned with the square footage size, if that had been addressed in the original PD.
So, Councilor Smith, these buildings are designed to be subdivided into those individual spaces or smaller warehouse spaces. So each of those individual doors would accommodate those those individual tenants and warehouse or light manufacturing uses.
Okay, again, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to.
You're not. No, I'm glad you're bringing these up. Thank you.
I definitely think we need this type of development in Monument. I just want to make sure that we're in agreement with our current existing code.
Well, I think it's also, I mean, well, I don't want, I think these are things that we could certainly take a closer look at. I mean, this is a plan unit development. You have the ability to approve things that are different as a condition or in response to the design and the use of the property. Um, but those are all very good points, and I'd be glad to go back with the applicant and make sure that we address those properly, um, either through design or by ordinance.
All right, thank you. Defer to anyone else. Might have.
I'm sure there's other things. I will say from the design standpoint, Dan, I am not a fan of bone white on any of our buildings that are coming in. We've had discussions about the color white being very not mountain-esque. So I would certainly like to see that color stricken from the palette and toned into some grays or browns. But bone white is for me, I know it's going to sound trivial, but it's too, it doesn't fit. It's too reflective with the western sun beating on it. It's something we've discussed multiple times. So for me, that's an issue. But I'm sure there's other comments that people are going to have that are beyond the color palette.
I have a question regarding lighting. So I'm going to presume that there'll be some, so lighting in the sense of parking as well as safety lighting, but then also if there's going to be, I'll call it retail for lack of a better term, that there'll be, retail signs and whatnot. Can we make sure that the lighting fits? And I know that we don't have a formal ordinance for the night sky lighting yet, but can we make sure that the lighting conforms to what this council has expressed in the past, to where the lighting conforms to that night sky as well as after business hours to dimming and or turning it off completely?
Yes,
Okay.
we absolutely can. And what I'm hearing from each of you right now is there's a couple of different types of conditions that I should go back to working with the applicant on to make sure that we address those appropriately before we bring it back to you for approval.
Yeah, I'm picturing going back to what Mayor LaKine was talking about. If you drive through Woodland Park, and again, I'm not saying we need to copy town whatever, but if you drive through Woodland Park, even the Walmart blends in, and so I think we need to, and I don't know if we need an ordinance, and maybe we need to look at that, but just where I sit from my property, on Promontory Point, 7,100 feet. I look west. There's the church in a box. That's at the academy, nice and white. But you look a little bit down, and then you see these white, large squares in the middle of this green brown area, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. And so I can't. I'll reiterate what the mayor said, and I can't hit it enough. Bone white just doesn't fit in this area. Yeah. So anyway, and then the only other comment / question I had was the fencing. I noticed the fencing was 20 foot. Where is it? I had it, and then it disappeared. 20 for the, where is it? 20 foot. There it is. 20 feet, 20-foot height, screened. Is that for the loading docks and the outdoor storage area, Dan?
Yeah, so the outdoor that's referring to the landscaping that's along Old Denver Road and along that's not fence height but landscaping. The height limitation of less than 20 feet is coming from
Oh,
the condition that the Plan Commission recommended. But
Gotcha.
they are providing the screening per code.
okay. And how tall is the fencing going to be for, especially for the outdoor storage area?
I think it
Yeah.
was anticipated at being 8 feet per code, but Jason,
Okay.
am I speaking out of turn?
Jason Allwine, NES. There's a few comments going on, but regarding the screening, the fence is 6 foot height, opaque fence at the
Thank you.
base. We do have significant amount of landscape, again, adjacent to buildings 1 and 2 on the screen around Terrazzo and then to the west.
With the to try and cover as much as possible.
Correct. So we have 6 foot opaque fence in
Okay.
addition to a mix of evergreen shrubs, trees, evergreen and deciduous trees that over time will kind of grow taller. That the restriction that we agreed to was to limit that storage to 20 feet in total. So I guess rough math, about 14 feet higher than the fence, and we went back and forth on that for a variety of reasons. But so in addition to the screening fence and the landscape, that should provide an adequate buffer in the midst of this industrial development. And that's, I can hit some of the other things in a moment.
Before you, can you clarify the type of fence and what color it is?
Yeah,
Material?
it is kind of that black opaque fence, that a chain link with a black opaqueness that is really only in those lots 1 and 2 internal. And that will be opaque, so you can't see through that. And it's a little deceiving. The site plan looks flat, but building 2 actually sits down below Terrazzo Drive a little bit. So you'll kind of look over top of that. And then building 1, it's just to the left of where it says building 1, that's the outdoor screening area. And that's where that black fencing is with the landscape, and then fairly decent buffer to the street to the west.
As to the fencing, is there a reason why we're using chain link material versus something a little bit more sculptured that would fit aesthetically for something that you're going to be attracting some retail? You've got retail mentioned in here.
Sure.
Is chain link what we want to present to customers to come in and say, come to our chain link wrapped buildings?
Or it says chain link with mesh.
Well,
that's not opaque.
It just sounds cheap.
Sure, I understand the concern. And again, zoom out in context, we are in a greater area, part of a larger industrial park. And
you're surrounded by residents to the west. There's going to be residents to the west. There's going to be a building there. That's not really the image Monument wants to give off, is chain link fence wrapped around our businesses.
I would say that also chain link fence, if you're going to use those plastic slats that go in between the chain link fence, they're eventually going to wear and tear and fall apart due to the elements alone.
Agree.
Sure, we felt with how it sits, where the outdoor storage was limited to and the additional landscape, that did provide adequate screening and buffering. And through the course of the review, we didn't get any feedback on that, either from Jacobs or from planning staff, and whether or not that was acceptable material or not. This is the first time it's been brought up as far as whether or not that is an adequate material for screening of the yards for those buildings 1 and 2.
Stuff, Ken.
I think you got something.
I mean, we covered I had on my notes the type fencing, the using white vice, some kind of natural tone color that matches the landscape in the mountain area. And then lastly, I had questions about the traffic and the traffic study that was used. And I was wondering if, Dan, if you could elaborate on that, why we're using the original traffic study?
Well, the original traffic study has been updated and reviewed, but it doesn't go beyond the scope of these first few buildings that have been under review for the past 2 years. So what we've included in the site plan improvement agreement is that the developer, Thompson Thrift, will come back with a complete review and new report for both stormwater and traffic for anything above and beyond phase one development, which includes this site and two other sites at the southern portion of the development. The site isn't going to warrant a significant or any improvements to the roads until it starts to fill in, and that's why we felt comfortable on the staff level and the engineering level to allow for phase one to move forward with the idea that we were going to really take a much closer look at the overall site and its impacts on Baptist Road. For instance, the property to the south of this property is envisioned to be a retail space, and that's going to have a different impact on Baptist Road if it does move forward in that fashion. So we wanted to make sure that both stormwater and traffic are reviewed beyond phase one.
Yeah, because my concern is we're using an older study with outdated numbers, and then in conjunction with the development going on beyond this area, like you said, to the south, some of the changes that have been made, and then additionally, what's going to be added to this area as we continue.
We have the same concerns.
Plus, right now, you only have Teresa Drive to get in and out. Basically, you have that one. You can turn off from Teresa to La Campana Drive. That's going to take you to Old Denver, or you continue down. Either way, you're flowing. Most traffic might be flowing down towards the roundabouts onto Baptist.
Yeah, La Campana and Baja will both be completed as part of this phase one. That's a requirement of the Tri-View Metropolitan District project, and it's certainly a requirement of this site. They need to have full access to Old Denver Road and to Baptist from Terrazzo Drive to appropriately function and for emergency services and whatnot. So all good points, though. Thank you.
And then could you elaborate on the discussion that was with the Planning Commission regarding the regional trail from 6 foot to 10 foot?
6 foot to 10 foot. There's the Plan Commission. I don't believe that was this case. I believe that was the residential development in Connexus to the north. The Plan Commission wanted us to entertain bringing in a 10-foot wide connecting path from Santa Fe Trail into the new subdivision to the north. That wasn't a topic that was discussed as part of this site. There are no connections other than La Campana and Baja Drive to the Santa Fe Trail in the Terrazzo Baja development.
Okay.
Dan, this is Sana. Hi. In the Planning Commission meeting minutes, it says that Commissioner Green made a motion to approve the final plan unit development and the final plat for filing number 4 with the following conditions: a 6-foot trail be constructed rather than the proposed 5-foot trail and
Yeah, but that's not part of this development, though.
It's not this one? Okay.
No, that's not this one. We'll bring that case is going to come before you on at your next meeting. And
okay.
Yeah, but I can see where these are draft minutes, so I'm going to guess that Commissioner Green will probably have some changes to those minutes to make sure that it's more clear. But yeah, that's a different case.
Okay, that's why I didn't find it on the construction documents. That
That's
makes
correct.
sense. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you for verifying that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
She said everybody's taken her thunder, so whatever's left. Um, I was just going back and looking at the fencing stuff, because
So I did a quick Google search of types of metal industrial fencing. There's some really nice ones. Some seems weird to say that about industrial fencing, but that are cleaner, industrial looking, but would be more aesthetic.
yeah, there's metal fencing that's surrounding
That's
the soon to be family fun center, but
yeah,
it's not slatted,
yeah,
right? It's more steel looking.
Yeah.
This is chain link,
yeah. Chain link is
and that to me diminishes the look and feel of even an industrial area with mixed retail in. Because to Councilmember Kimball's point, the elements are going to destroy the slatted material.
That's going to be gone.
And it is in our code that fences will be maintained by the property owner, including staining and painting as necessary to keep the fence in good condition. Using a really inexpensive material like that sounds like they'll be added every season. I just don't like the idea of chain link fence for a retail area. But did you want to address something, sir?
Well, I have a few things to address, and I do have a full presentation. I don't know that we need to go through the full presentation, and I don't know, Dan, what I have is part of it a repeat of what Dan has, but I think there's a few slides that may help with some of the conversations. Certainly with respect to following the approved prelim PUD and in contact with that and the final PUD approval criteria. Let me talk about a few things as we get there. Lighting's not in my presentation, but we did submit a photometric plan to show compliance with the town code with the 0 foot offset zero or the foot candles. All of those are kind of the full shield down. The lighting that's in the parking lot is for parking lot lighting for safety, very similar to what you would see with most commercial developments. And that'll also be adjacent to any street light. So, there will be lighting in this development as typical with public streets. And a lot of the lighting also is then building mounted facing down. So, is it going to be lit up like a football field? I can't necessarily answer that, but we are in compliance with whatever code regarding to the photometric plan. With regard to the traffic concerns, again, our traffic memo is in line with that previous traffic study that was done a few years ago, maybe outdated for adjacent development, but this development is in line with what was part of that overall master study showing compliance that our uses are accounted for in those traffic figures and numbers, and indicating we're not adding additional traffic than what was approved for this particular site. So perhaps, again, offsite downstream, maybe there's some traffic concerns, but this site bringing it on is in line with that overall count and the numbers that were generated from that traffic through today with our proposed industrial uses. Then with respects to the building color, we understand concerns about some of the bone white. And if I don't know, if we could go back to the elevations. I want to point out, like, the whole building is not bone white. There are, changes in color. The front elevation, we have changes in color there with the darker color, the faux wood look, with the roof being the lighter tan. So it does break up that white. It's not the whole building is not the bone white, bright white, looking like a giant circus tent per se. So there's some variety of texture and color in that to help, I think, minimize that. In addition to how the building's oriented and with the landscape screening, we hope sort of it can mitigate some of that effect you were concerned about the whiteness of the buildings and the stark white.
If I could, I don't think we're that far off from meeting the council's concerns. If it would be okay, Jason, and I'm sorry I'm not there with you to to help out. This is not a normal. And this, well, I don't usually attend remotely. But I think if we were to come back to the council addressing these issues, maybe just reaffirming the things that you just talked about here, I think we should be able to successfully address their concerns and get this approved. If it would be okay with you, I'd like to recommend council give us that opportunity to address and come back. Does that work for you and your client?
Let me have a moment to ask that. So if I may restate what you're suggesting is we table this to the next hearing. Am I hearing that, or what's the recommendation?
That's what I'd be recommending, and it would probably be to the first meeting in January. Otherwise, we have about a week to address everything. If that would work, we'd come back in January with a complete package and be able to address these issues with council.
I think there's more council comments that need to be added to the record, though. And it is a public hearing item, so it's going to have to be open to the public to discuss.
Thank you, Mayor.
Do you want to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go. So first off, I do want to say that I do like this concept a lot.
Yes.
I like the fact of having these potential mom and pop businesses operating out of these warehouses. And so the concept and the general layout is not an issue with me. But what is an issue, and there are several things, so I'll just bring them up. First off, I think we have very minimal design standards in this town. And there is a preliminary PUD with this, and the PUD has its own set of standards. And this final one doesn't meet those standards. So for me, PUDs are created to improve the design character and quality of new development. That's what it says in our code. Flexibility is created in exchange for amenities. So PUD should be held to the higher standard of what is agreed upon in the preliminary PUD or the code if it's not specifically agreed to in the PUD. And this final PUD negates some of the previous requirements. And since it's a later document, if we approve this as is, then we are in essence negating the preliminary PUD standards and some of our code issues. So these are things that need to be addressed. And first off, before I get on to the next thing though, Dan, you said something about you were going to talk about what this outside storage was all about. Can you explain that?
I think Jason's probably better equipped to talk about the outdoor storage option for the two northernmost buildings.
Okay, well then I'll go through what I have and then, you know, you can address some of these, or we'll come back later after we have some other conversations about it. Because regarding outside storage, we tend to try to not have so much of that. In the preliminary PUD, it specifically says only if it's incidental, and it must be opaque screened, and the chain link fence is not opaque screened, and the preliminary PUD specifically says cedar fence or better. But I don't see this outside storage being incidental. The outside storage is also listed as a parking area, so that I would assume would require asphalt and not millings. And it also states that there's going to be no trash enclosures required and that each unit's going to have to deal with their own trash. But our code and the preliminary PUD talks about trash enclosures and those being opaque screened and enclosed. The original preliminary PD states that architecture requires four-sided architecture and a variety of design and materials. The monument code 18-05150 specifically limits steel buildings to 20,000 square feet. I could probably get from here to there if there were different types of material on this thing, but the whole building is steel. And ours comes with restrictions And so does the preliminary PUD, which states articulation in the sides of the building and all the parallel spaces. And ours says that it requires a change in building height, building 3 of the 4, change in, or 3 of the 5, I think, change in building height, building step backs or recesses, fenestration, change in building material, pattern, texture, color, or use of accent materials. And this doesn't have any of those. Regarding the loading areas that you talked about on the buildings to the south, and I don't have those numbers, but buildings 1 and 2, yeah, so you're going to share that in the space between the two, which, you know, I guess is fine. If it's a multi-tenant building, probably have to be kind of cognizant of your neighbors if you got a semi-trailer sitting there unloading stuff. But buildings 1 and 2 don't seem to have that. And so I don't know if you're unloading stuff into, particularly into building 1, I guess you could pull something around the side, but now you're in a fire lane. And so I don't know what the fire department's going to think about that one. And then on the landscaping part of it too, there's a substantial amount of landscaping here. I appreciate that. Some minor things would be like up against the trail, it requires evergreen trees every 25 feet. At least 50% of the trees would be evergreens, but the trees would be 25 feet on center, or 3 shrubs per each tree. The northern part of this doesn't look like it has any evergreens, so that's, you know, a minor point. Yeah, I don't like modifying the preliminary PUD to make it less than it was. And I don't like modifying our codes to make them less than they are. This is up against the trail. It's going to be up against Old Denver. It's going to have a lot of visibility. I would just like to try to clean this up. And that's pretty much where I'm coming from in a nutshell. But I would like to know what the outside storage is all about.
And why road base was selected for that area versus concrete or asphalt.
Yeah.
And Dan, I probably missed it, but I just want to make sure that, because you said that 2 roads were going to be complete with this site plan, is that correct?
That's correct. They're actually I had their pre-construction meeting 2 weeks ago, and both Baja, Terrazzo, and La Campana they're all going to be construction and completed prior to anyone receiving an occupancy.
Are these roads going to be, or obviously they're going to have curbs and stuff like that, but are they going to be ADA compliant, or is that something that the town is going to have to face later on down the road?
That's an excellent question. No, they're all been engineered to meet our code, and ADA compliance is required. The crossings over Santa Fe Trail have all been approved by the county as well as by our town engineer. No, we are keeping a close eye on this. I apologize for some of these things that you're bringing up today. I will do my best to work with the developer to address these issues. Again, I think we're not that far off. I think we can sit down and go through each of these topics one by one, and make sure that we come back to you with something that that you will be more apt to approve.
I will reiterate that this is the concept I like a lot. The idea of giving space to mom and pops to expand, that's excellent. So this is good. And I agree with you, Dan. We're not. It's not throw out the bath and the baby. That this is. I think we're almost there. So I'm with you. I think there's just some minor tweaks that that can get it across the finish line.
And without setting precedents that we have to deal with on every other project, but because we make exceptions.
Is there
All right.
anything else that you would like to bring up?
Hello, Andrew Biggs here with Proterra Properties, the developer. So I just would like to get in front of you guys, put a face to the name. We work here. Our office is just across the street over by the dentist, Tri-Lakes Dental. We've done a number of projects here. Wagons West is included in one of those just up the street. So we're both residents here. We work here, so we certainly not only welcome your suggestions, but think it goes to making a great project for everybody. So I think I would just like for you guys to hear from me everything that we've done up to this point, putting forth this project. A lot of thought has gone into not only site layout, but not just putting up steel structures as cheap as possible. While trying to be economically smart, we have gone and done a lot to add some architectural features or some relief on these buildings. So we are glad to hear those comments. Those have been heard. We will work together with you guys to come back and have you guys hear it, maybe with a little more clarity on some of those topics. But I just wanted you guys to hear that from us as not only as the developer, but as a neighbor and somebody who's going to be looking at this every day, and also somebody who's looking to own it long term. So yeah, anything from fencing materials to, color of the buildings, we're open to listening. I think some of that obviously is personal preference, but you guys are in the position you guys are to help make some of those decisions. And based on it being in a PUD, that's what we're here to listen to. So please allow us, perhaps we table this until next meeting and we can get with the powers that be that can present you maybe a little bit more full package or address some of these.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for
Okay.
that.
Thank you guys. Yep. Appreciate it.
Okay, so, Mr. Cole, I want to make sure we do this the right way. It seems like there's a consensus from all the parties to continue, but we have not opened the public hearing item yet. It is a public hearing item. What is your suggestion on moving forward to do this the right way?
I would recommend that you open the public hearing and allow public comment tonight. Continue that to also allow public comment at the meeting at which this is going to be tabled to.
Okay, tabled or continued?
Continued.
All right, so we will open the public hearing. If there is anybody who is here in town hall that would like to speak for or against this ordinance, I'll welcome you up. Seeing none, we'll move online.
No hands raised, Mayor.
No hands. Okay, so then we'll bring it back and we will close the public hearing item and bring it back to the council for any further discussion or questions for the applicant or a representative. Representative from NES, you would like to say something else?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. If we don't do December 15th, do we know, I think the first Monday would be January 5th after the holiday. Is that still just trying to look for when,
5th, yes.
how this would work? Okay, and then do we need to repost, or since it's a continuation, we're clean on the postings?
Well, so we're going to continue it to the date that you and staff agree to.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
when we make the motion, I will need a date from staff, from Dan's staff and you as applicant to tell us what day works for you. And then of course, staff will let us know how congested the agenda is. But we
And
do,
if that doesn't work, we can continue it again.
Well, I don't know that they want to continue it again. I think.
Well,
that's-
no, but I'm saying if they come, if you
Probably
come,
not, but
if you come and you're not,
Yeah, yeah,
if you're
yeah.
not ready for that
Yeah.
date, it doesn't mean that we have to. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your toes.
Okay, well, that, we can do that. And then I think just kind of a quick recap. I just want to make sure there's a lot of discussion here, and I'll certainly go back and listen to the audio again to make sure we capture, but just kind of paraphrase. We're looking at screening the fence material. We are looking at the building color and potentially materials with that. And then some questions, I'd have to go back, Mayor Pro Tem King, to some of your comments, but regarding whether or not we comply with the
I'll
preliminary
send these to
PUD.
Dan and he'll have the list.
Okay, and are any additional traffic or lighting concerns, or did my responses help alleviate some of those original questions? Just want to make sure when we come back, we're prepared with really addressing the main concerns we had here tonight, so we can kind of focus on that, and
So-
perhaps we do maybe a more formal presentation at that to show you how we've complied with that and what we've done.
So definitely the items that were brought up in regards to the code under section 18. So square footage size, and additionally the bay openings. So there's some issues there because you're in close proximity to the trail and open space, and it directly addresses that under section 1804. And again, just to reiterate too, I'm very much in favor of a project like this. I just want to make sure that we're doing things the correct way.
Yeah, understood,
So-
appreciate that. And some of these comments, frankly, a lot of these comments are surprises to us. So we're trying just to make sure we get the right responses and answers.
So I'd make the recommendation that that you would continue this to January 5th. And that I will work with the applicant to properly address each of these points that you've raised tonight and bring it back to you for consideration at the continued public hearing on January 5th.
Okay, sounds good. So that we don't belabor this, I will look for a motion to,
I'm definitely
Go ahead, Chad.
happy. Yeah, I'm happy to make a motion to continue ordinance 22 TAC 2025. Approval of the final planned unit development at Santa Fe Park, Lot 2, Terrazzo Baja Commercial Subdivision, located at the northwest corner of Terrazzo Drive and La Campana Drive, until January 5th,
Second,
2026.
2026. Yes.
We have a motion. And do we have a second too?
Second.
I seconded,
Sarah
but
seconded.
that's fine.
Excellent. Thanks. We have a motion and a second.
I'm not seeing the vote pop up, just FYI.
I'm struggling.
Okay.
Okay, you should see it now.
I got it. Yes. Thank you. You're not struggling, Tina. You're doing great.
Oh, no, I was.
Getting mine popping up here.
Tina, mine didn't show up.
Okay, just verbal vote for Chronic and Abbott, please.
Approve.
Yes. Approved.
Thank you.
All right, motion to continue passes 7-0. We will move on to ordinance 23, 2025, an ordinance to amend Title 18 of the Land Development Code relating to accessory uses and structures, in other words, ADUs. This is coming down from the state up on high on how we're going to manage our land use. Mr. Ungerleider, are you going to walk us through this, or?
I am. I'll walk you through, and Bob, feel free to step in if if I appear to be panicking. But I think everything should be fine. So as the Mitch LeKind, or Mayor LeKind mentioned, the 2024 Colorado legislative session approved House Bill 241152, which established municipal permitting procedures by adopting a new section of code that required local governments to adopt an ordinance to administratively approve the processes for accessory dwelling units. Municipalities were required to do this by June 30th of 2025. The town did request that date be extended to the end of this year, and that extension was approved. Basically what they're doing is they're making sure that municipalities change their ordinances to support accessory dwelling units be approved within municipalities, knowing that accessory dwelling units are a form of affordable workforce housing, and also a way to bring income in for homeowners who are struggling with mortgage payments and the cost of housing. So what we are proposing to do is repeal and replace existing language in our code of section 1803340, which deals with accessory structures and specifically calls out that accessory dwellings shall not exceed 50% of the gross floor area. And that this is a pretty simplified requirement, making sure that accessory dwelling units aren't larger than the primary dwelling unit that's located on a piece of property. So what you have is a draft ordinance that meets those standards set by the state, as well as establishes standards that are very personal and more appropriate for the town of Monument within the state requirements. The new section D that's replacing that old sentence that I just read to you will include requirements that say that a permit is required for an accessory dwelling unit, the requirements that are set for an accessory dwelling unit, where that accessory dwelling unit can be located, and some very specific development standards for accessory dwelling units. In addition to those standards, the town municipalities are required to provide a strategy to encourage ADU construction and conversion in the community. And what I'm proposing you today is to waive at least 50% of the use tax for that ADU. It could be as much as 100%, depends on how much you want to support this type of housing. This represents typically between $1,600 and $2,000 for ADU conversion or construction as part of a single family home, or as a separate structure outside of the single family home. In doing so, this would bring us in full compliance with House Bill 241152. If you were to approve this tonight, I would then be required on your behalf to submit a one-time compliance report to DOLA before the end of the year, which would then qualify Monument as a certified ADU supportive jurisdiction. And in doing so, that would keep us in compliance with state policy, and keep us eligible for future and ongoing state grants. I'd be glad to go through the specifics of the ordinance. I just have to, I don't have it on the slide since there are lots of details. But we're asking that you consider approving ordinance number 23, 2025, which is an ordinance amending Title 18 Land Development Code, Section 1803340, related to accessory uses and structures.
Okay, so we have a bunch of these tonight. Thank you, Dan. I have a question. When we finish the 2024 legislative session, right, in 2025, this is from 2024 though.
Mhm.
And we knew we had to review these. Is there anything, are any of these exceeding what the state requirements are? Because the 50% reduction, us randomly going down a path and saying we're going to give up our use tax revenue, I don't recall hearing that we had to do that.
So I included in the packet Mr. Cole's initial analysis regarding this House bill and this standard. There were many different options for supporting ADUs, but with the I chose this one and recommended this one given the amount of resources it would require for us to provide some of the other state recommended supportive policies. And also with the understanding that a 50% doesn't really represent a large chunk of dollars, especially with the continued or the demand for ADUs in town. We already allow ADUs in town, and we are not getting applications for them. They're not being proposed, they're not being requested. So I felt that in making that recommendation, I wasn't having a major impact on staff resources or financial resources for the community. But again, it's just a recommendation, and we could certainly consider others moving forward.
But in the end, these recommendations, they're not really recommendations so much as they are demands that if you don't follow what we're telling you to do, we're going to take something else away from you. So it's a double dip. You're going to lose possibly a chunk of tax revenue, no matter how small it is. And if you don't follow that, we're going to also withhold grant money from you too.
I'd like to clarify something just real quick. So not only tell me if I understood this right. So not only is the state dictating how to run our town, but then they're also dictating strategies to entice their mandates. Did I understand that correctly? Did they pass down a list of strategies to make sure that their efforts have success?
They provided a list, but they didn't say that you had to pick one from one or the other from that list. They were just making recommendations for how a municipality could support to support the use of ADUs. And again, I selected this one because it didn't require staff resources, significant staff resources or cost. But we're willing to certainly work on others if that's the direction of council.
But we're not mandated to instill one of their strategies. We
kind of are.
Yeah, we are. So we must.
Anything we don't follow means that DOLA will no longer give us money for anything.
So that's what I was asking. So not only did they pass a law that we have to follow, fine, whatever, but then they also passed a strategy that we have to pick something from. Is that so? I'm trying to understand.
So Marco,
I think you understand it correctly. If I could interject, I think you understand it correctly. They say you have to comply with a law that facilitates ADUs, and then you also have to develop a strategy that encourage ADU construction and conversion. And they gave you a kind of a smorgasbord list that you can choose from for that strategy. And in your council packet, starting at the very bottom of, I think it's page 35 of your council packet, in my memo is a list of those strategies that are contained in the legislation that you can pick from. And Mr. Ungerleider has identified his recommendation, but if you want to choose one of the others, we could redraft it and plug that in.
Either way, it's fiscal coercion by the state.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that I probably would agree with Dan that that's probably the least impactful, judging from the amount of ADUs that we have in the town.
Yeah, and
I mean, you're in essence building a new house, right?
yeah, and I've got all kinds of questions on in terms of utilities, but I wanted to make sure that I understood the edict that's coming down to us on how to run our town.
Correct.
So
You've understood it perfectly.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And there's going to be some more reinforcements if you have not figured it out by the fourth one that we're going to go over.
Yeah,
We can get you some more in 2025.
yeah.
Okay, I have a basic question about approving this. How and who determines the definition of low and moderate income?
They have yet to determine that at the state level.
But it's in this ordinance. And so who gets to determine that?
Actually, it's not in the ordinance. That would be a policy statement that I would come back to you in December. I don't have that policy statement written yet, and we would have to make the determination of how we would, what numbers we would be using for that. I didn't have it on time for for your discussion today, but I would have that as part of a financial policy statement for December 15th.
Dan, I do not feel that the town of Monument is going to be put into a position to define a financial policy statement on these two names, low and moderate income households, when the state government hasn't been able to do it for the last 4 legislative sessions. They've been fighting with construction defects and the term low income, middle income, the missing middle. No one can define it. Far be it from us to get in the way of that and then set precedents for other people.
Yeah,
But this, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but this is about administrative approval of. Isn't that true? So
That's correct.
So the who would be the planning director, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's up to the planning director then to define. Am I off base here, or?
Well, I would have that definition for council. I wouldn't be acting on my own to set a definition. Pulling up Mr. Cole's memo just one more time to give me a basis of where my recommendation came from.
I'm okay with your recommendation personally.
Yeah, it says waiving
I'm
reduce.
not trying to put you in a corner. It's just, and because so much of this is just fuzzy all along, and nobody really knows, and we're trying to kind of worm our way into some kind of definition, way to handle this, and it's just a great big question mark.
So
I would come back to
I
you
have
with
a
the
couple of
definition.
I have a couple of questions around the land use part of this. I'm not particularly concerned that we're going to get overrun with ADUs, just because it's not an easy thing to do. But in some municipalities, and I don't know if that would uphold here, but in some municipalities with their ADU requirements, they require that an owner occupant be in at least one of the units so that you don't have, you know, Wall Street firms coming in, buying up houses and then building a second rental unit in the backyard. Is that something that we can place into this, or is that off limits as well?
Let's see.
And how do you handle that with an ADU in a non-residential zone district?
Well, what we've done is we've made sure that and this might go to some of the utility questions, is that we've made sure that you couldn't have a separate water meter, separate utility set up for the ADU, separate from the home. So that way you wouldn't be renting from one property owner to another, or you couldn't sell the ADU off as a condo. It would be maintained and owned by that property owner. I'm trying to remember specifically. Bob,
Yeah.
do you recall?
Yeah, we can require that property owners demonstrate that a property owner resides on the parcel.
Okay.
So that is allowed.
All right. That takes out the, you know, the investment aspect of it. And then in here, it has something about HOAs. Can HOAs prohibit these? Or
Nope.
can they just restrict some things on them?
It says you can't, their covenants are null and void when it comes to this.
Well, it
That's
says
right.
that, yeah, and it also said, it has down here, it talks about the responsibility of property owner to comply with the HOA covenants. So that's just general covenants.
Just a general like color,
Okay.
you know.
But HOA covenants will say in there no ADUs. So that's why I'm
Just
asking that.
Strike that line.
Okay, I got it. And then,
Yeah, that may be a source of litigation by HOAs against the state.
right, especially when
Or-
they have like
or
even
property owners. Yeah.
parking requirements, like you have to park in your garage or park on your driveway or something. Some of those are in those documents as well. And then, so we can't charge separate water taps. Is that what I'm reading in here too?
No, what we're trying to reading where, I'm sorry.
In the ordinance?
That we aren't, it's not a matter of charging a separate water tap. We're trying to prevent them from having separate water taps. We wanted to maintain it as one coherent piece of property, being the ADU and the home. It wasn't a matter of trying to separate taps. It was to trying to maintain ownership under one roof.
Okay.
I recall that being a point of contention when this was being testified about the utility providers not being able to, they were not able to account for the potential amount of usage, both from a water as well as a storm or sewer, because at the same time, while they were passing this nonsense, they also said there's no more occupancy limits.
Right. Or parking
Well,
requirements.
right, but parking doesn't send anything down into the sewer.
Right.
Adding 25 people to an ADU that are all flushing toilets for a system that wasn't designed for it could impact that entire utility.
So I got a question for Tom then. So Tom, you got two houses now on a 3/4 inch tap. What does that do?
It probably depends on how large the house is and how large the ADU is. We have tables inside of our appendix documents that show a 3/4 inch line can supply this many fixture units in a house. So if you add an ADU, that adds another sink, a toilet, a shower, whatever they look like.
By the same token, it adds to the sewer lateral too. That's a 4-inch pipe, and now you got an extra house. And I know that's not
And it
you
may
know, your
be-
thing, but
Yeah.
I would think we're not in the sewer business, but
Right.
I would imagine that if you had a lot of people living in an ADU and they tie into the same common line that feeds the house, then it may be that the size of that line is not going to be big enough. So they may
Yeah.
have to upsize.
But if I that's not what we're proposing. That's not an ADU. An ADU is an apartment. It's taking over it's either taking a portion of the existing home and turning it into a one bedroom with a kitchen and a full bath for rent. Or it's an accessory structure in the backyard that is one bedroom, one family room, kitchen, and full bath. It's not creating a secondary house on the property. We're not doing a duplex. Um, for instance, I have an example here that I could pop up. If say this were new construction. Let's see here.
But Dan, it's like 900 square feet is the maximum size of a secondary unit, right?
It's small, yes.
Well, 900's 3-bedroom, 2-bath. If you go that big.
Yeah.
So here's a product. I'm sharing my screen. This is a product that one of our local builders is producing. It's a standard.
I don't see you sharing your screen.
Well, that's no fun.
While
Will,
you're figuring.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Oh, there
So
you go.
this
Okay,
is
go
the
ahead.
first floor of a single family home. And the second floor, we have an ADU that's being provided. Let's see, I'm going to skip back here. It's an apartment that's over the garage. You go up upstairs, you walk into a full kitchen, living room, and then there's one bedroom and a full bath in the back. We used to refer to these as mother-in-law units.
If you had a
But now
detached garage.
Or if you had a mother.
or this would be the same with a detached garage, right? You'd have the upstairs of a detached garage could be the ADU, or by this code now you'd just be able to have an accessory structure in the back. They would accommodate an apartment. And the idea is that you're able to rent this to help subsidize your mortgage payment for the rest of the home.
So what does this do for stormwater management? Is there any kind of an impact to worry about? I mean, your idea here wouldn't have anything to do with it because it's on top of a garage. But if you have a separate structure in the back and now you've got whatever 70% lot coverage or something, is that going to create any havoc with the master plan?
Well, I think that's something we're going to be looking at when we review Chapter 18 in its entirety when it comes to lot coverage and what we include in our lot coverage calculations. For instance, driveways, sidewalks, and so on are not included in that lot coverage. But you can put up an accessory structure now, a large shed in your backyard, and there's no stormwater management requirements for it. You just have to make sure that you're fitting within the existing grading that's been established for the property.
Okay, so I know we can beat this thing to death, but
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got to do it, but I would like to put in the owner occupancy thing.
So you want to change one of the whereases or one of the sections?
Well, I guess it would be a whereas, but so that the property owner has to live on the site. He can live in the ADU and rent the house out, but has to live in something.
I think what we would want to do is add that in the exhibit that has the code section 1803-340, and I think we would probably add that under D2 on requirements for an ADU.
Okay, so we can leave everything else alone and just add a line in there as under 1803-340 D2 ABC, whatever.
Yes, we would add another small lettered item there that would require the owner occupancy.
Any other modifications before I open this up to the public? Okay, public hearing item, right, Bob?
Yes, sir.
All right, we will open it up to the public. Is there anybody here in the public that would like to speak for or against this ordinance as discussed in the modification coming to owner occupancy? Okay, no one here. Will, anybody online?
Do not see anybody online, Mayor. All right, then
Yes.
we'll bring it back.
Well, wait,
Terry Hayes. Terry Hayes has her hand up.
Okay, I don't see a hand. Okay, I see the hand raised. I don't see it in the system. One moment. I have allowed the mic for the participant.
Good
Okay, Ms.
evening.
Hayes?
Good evening, council. One of the things I have not heard discussed is the difference between long-term rentals and short-term rentals. If the ADU process is supposed to help housing for workers, I would love to see you guys see if it's possible to say only for long-term rentals. Otherwise, it's just another business they're opening up, and that's not helping the original purpose the state has.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that reasonable, Bob?
It is certainly something that the legislature allows you to permit or restrict.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks, Terry.
Yep, thank you for that.
Yes, thank
Because
you.
there will be at some point in the future a discussion and probable ordinance on STRs anyway. So this is good that we not get this one locked into the ADUs so that they're not just a party house.
Yes.
So are we in agreement that short-term rentals would be under 30 days? That's kind of the definition of ADUs, right?
Long-term, it would be, the ADUs would be for long-term, short-term would be under.
Under 30 days.
Right. Okay, now we'll close public hearing and bring it back for any further discussion or a motion with modifications.
I can make a motion if nobody else has anything else. All right, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 23-2025 and ordinance amending Title 18 Land Development Code, amending section 18.03.340 relating to accessory units and structures with the following amendment or conditions: that these ADUs will not be determined as short-term rentals. They will be long-term rentals over 30 days. And that and that the owner resides on at least one of the properties on the parcel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Yes, I approve.
Gotcha.
What has happened to your,
I don't know. I'm not here anymore.
do you see her logged in still?
Nope.
You're missing some pages. Hang on. Can you go to? Oh, you have to actually, you're not, I don't think you're signed in anymore. I'm right here. Go to your sign in. The one that says sign in right there. Log back in. Now go to LK. Yep. Boom. No. Yeah, now you should be able to vote. Okay, that motion passes 7-0.
Okay, I'm going to take over here for a minute. So now we're going to open up ordinance number 20-2025. An ordinance amending Title 18 for Land Development Code, creating Section 18.04.600, establishing permitting procedures for electric vehicle charging systems. Dan, you're up.
Thanks. So this is another state required change that we are bringing before you in hoping that we can modify our code before the end of the year. On May 21st, House Bill 241173 was passed, outlining requirements for local governments that choose to comply with by adopting electrical vehicle charging model land use code. The purpose of the House bill was to promote electrical vehicle use, cost effectiveness and convenience and viability across the state, and to advance Colorado's goals to reduce air pollution and greenhouse gases. The legislation passed to encourage more standardized and streamlined local permitting processes for EV charging development. The statute itself applies to counties with 20,000 or more people and municipalities with 10,000 or more people. And of course, Monument fits within that. Now, before I go too far, these processes were being followed already by our staff in reviewing electrical charging stations when they were to come in. For instance, we have one right now that we're considering for the Walmart shopping center, where they will be replacing parking spaces with charging stations. And we were following very similar process in consideration of their request to put in those charging stations. So this is not a big change. It's just it does establish specific goals, guidelines, and standards that would be followed by myself and future planning directors. So by December 31st, we are required to complete at least one of these three actions. Adopt the EV charging model code, adopt the EV charging permitting standards as directed by the law, or retain existing permitting process and standards, adopt an ordinance or resolution to retain existing standards and permitting processes for EV charging projects. There are two components to this. Sorry, let's see, there we go. There are two components required to comply with the model code. There's the provision of definitions and standards and defining a permitting process. I think it's best to, we start off with just some of the basics. There's three different types of charging stations. A level 1 charging station is something that you would just pull the extension cord out of your electric car and you would plug it into the wall. Level 2 is a stronger charging station that you might find in your, someone can installs a 220 volt outlet, and then they put a charging station in their garage. We have one of these on the side of the town hall, being used by the police department to charge their electric vehicle. And then a level 3 is an EV charging station that actually provides a much faster, healthier charge. You can do a full charge within a few hours of an EV vehicle. These type of stations can include not only the charging station, but also include a battery and power storage. So they're a little more significant. Zoning that we're proposing right now is that permitted at right for level 1 and level 2 charging stations, and that level 3 be permitted in non-single family districts as a permitted use. Approvals for a level 1 charging station would not be required. It'd be if someone just plugging a charging system into their electrical outlet in their home or on the side of their house would not require any type of special approvals. Level 2 would require an electrical service permit if needed, but again, it wouldn't go through any type of a plan commission or council review process. And then the level 3 would be treated as an accessory use to the property and would require site plan approval, land development, building permit approval. If it's an accessory use and if it's the primary use being that there's nothing else on the property, then they would go through a conditional use process requiring both site plan, land development, and building permits. Conditional use being that it could be a public hearing before the Plan Commission and before council before it would receive approval to make sure that it doesn't have any negative impacts on the surrounding land uses or property owners. Parking. This is how we were handling it at an administrative level now, but parking spaces, anything that's being utilized for EV charging stations would be an alternative to a standard parking space, and the EV charging station would be required to comply with those parking standards and would count towards the total required off-street parking spaces required by code. The text amendment calls for design standards for these Type 3 Type 3 EV charging systems, which includes screening, the type of screening, the location of the screening, and all the dimensions that are shown here on this slide, as well as in the draft ordinance that I've provided to you. The best application you might see in this, again, is going back to the Walmart example, or say an apartment complex that wants to convert 3 or 4 parking spaces into an EV charging station. They would have to comply with these standards. Again, this would not be for primary land use. It would be an accessory to an existing land use. If there aren't any other questions regarding this, I'm asking that you consider approval of ordinance number 24/2025, which would be an amendment to Title 18 Land Development Code, creating a new section 1804-600, establishing permitting procedures for electrical vehicle charging systems.
What if you want a charging station at your ADU? No, I'm just kidding.
That's already come up. So
so we don't have to do that level 3 as a use by right.
It's administrative as an accessory use, but you couldn't do that as a primary use.
Okay.
Is there any appetite, or have ideas been floated for the town to own some of the charging stations or put charging stations in? Because you have to pay for a fee.
We have looked at that through the Verigy project, and at this time, it's not a project we're moving forward with.
And is the current stage 2 and stage 3 locations, are they grandfathered, or do they have to change to meet any of these requirements?
The one, for instance, on the side of Town Hall complies with the code. That's an ad right. It takes an existing parking space. It's at the base of the parking space. It takes up no more space than a handicap or another form of signage.
There's other level 3 here in the town. There's
I would consider
the pilot
those
station, and
grandfathers.
also
Yeah.
the Maverick
Yep.
over on 105. That's their Tesla. The one on Pilot is I think it's GMC, if I'm not mistaken, because I used it. So
Yeah, those are accessory uses to those existing uses. We could certainly take for someone who came in to put in a new facility, I would make sure that they met all the current codes, but it would be very difficult for us to go back and require Maverick, for instance, to provide additional screening or to turn their lights down or do some other type of modification to meet code.
You can ask them nicely.
I've done it before. I could try it again.
Concerns about this? I mean, it's getting pushed down, right? So
I feel we are lucky and blessed that the Central Party Commission of the state of Colorado blesses us with this insightful things.
At least they're asking us to vote for it.
All right. Okay, this is another public hearing item. Would anybody in the public like to talk about for or against the electric scooter charging stations? No? All right. Anybody online, Will?
See no hand raised, Mayor.
All right, then we will come back and close the public hearing item, bring it back for further discussion, modification, a vote. Whatever you'd like.
I'd make a
I'll make a
motion. if
motion
there's no more
to
comments.
approve ordinance number 24-2025. An ordinance amending Title 18 Land Development Code, creating section 18.04.600, establishing permitting procedures for electric vehicle charging systems.
Second.
You guys are all excited to vote in second. They all have electric cars. Quick.
Mm-mm. No, we're done.
Tina, I vote yes.
Thank you.
I'm not, I haven't touched anything. I vote yes.
Go back to your middle tab. Middle tab. Middle one, where you were. All right, that passes 7-0. Next up, 2025, Title 18, to prohibit non-functional turf, non-functional artificial turf, and invasive plant species to applicable development projects.
Me, I'm up again.
You're up again, Dan, because this is super important.
Okay,
Right,
so
I'm not getting rid of my artificial turf. I'm just telling you.
on March 25th, March of 2025, Senate Bill 24005 was passed concerning the conservation of water in the state by the prohibition of certain landscaping practices. In May of 2020-05, that's fun. House Bill 251113 was passed, modifying the original Senate bill to further limit the use of certain landscape practices specific to new residential developments. The purpose of both pieces of legislation was to protect Colorado's water supply, promote water-wise landscaping practices without adversely impacting quality of life or landscaping functionality, and so on. It also protects stormwater runoff into the environment and watersheds by prohibiting the use of non-functional turf, non-functional artificial turf, and invasive plant species in applicable new development and redevelopment projects. Before I go much further, I've already had conversations with multiple developers who are looking at coming into town, and they are already making plans to comply with this standard. I've not had any pushback. Non-functional turf means contiguous plant coverage consisting of non-native grasses or grasses that have not been hibernized for arid conditions, and which, when regularly mowed, form a dense growth of leaf-bladed and roots. You can't see it in this picture, but I picked this one because the grass looks yellow because it's not living without being constantly watered. The text amendment proposed is adding 1805480 into our landscape standards, which would be the prohibition of non-functional turf. First, just calling out that non-functional turf grass, non-functional artificial turf, and invasive plant species are prohibited in new development and development that causes disturbance of more than 50% of the existing aggregate landscaping for the following principal uses, which include common elements of condominiums and planned communities, rights of way, private streets, parking lots, and non-residential developments. The prohibition of non-functional turf also includes that the following developments are exempt from this: single-family dwellings, single-family detached dwellings, and two-family dwellings. Multifamily dwellings, condominiums, planned communities, and other residential uses with 12 dwellings or less. And then community facilities, community recreational facilities, and cultural facilities. It further goes on saying that that turf grass and artificial turf is not prohibited when such turf is installed in parks, sports fields, and other outdoor recreational areas, golf courses, chipping and putting greens. It's a component of a professionally engineered design for infrastructure, including those designated to be part of a water quality treatment solution, and the repair or replacement of non-functional turf or invasive plant species installed before January 1st of 2026. That we were required to comply with the first statute in January 1st of 2026, and then the second amendment by January 1st of 2028. We're recommending that we do a single consolidation of this update ahead of the first deadline to ensure consistent implementation moving forward. And again, this is something that's pretty consistent amongst municipalities to do so. It's less work for the staff and the communities to begin implementing this in stages. And I've had no pushback by the development community at this time. I'm making a recommendation to you to make a motion to approve ordinance 2025, an ordinance to amend Title 18 Land Development Code to prohibit non-functional turf, non-functional artificial turf, and invasive plant species to applicable development projects.
Yay. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
We're going to open the public hearing. Anybody here want to talk about turf, functional or non-functional, and whether they're for or against this ordinance? None? Will, anybody online?
There are no hands raised online there.
All right, bring it back for discussion. Does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss about the usage of turf, functioning or not functioning?
Ironically, I'm actually in agreement on this one. This one, I'm for it. I just wish our sister states would do the same, seeing as they make use of the water that we generate out here instead of doing, I don't know, pecan growing.
Pecan grows are awesome though. Yeah, how else are you going to eat the pecans without the water?
Yeah, I don't have issue with it either. Just, I think the water is just going to do nothing but go up in price. And I converted my house into xeriscaping a year ago and saved a bunch of water by doing it and saves money. So
you'd think that they would just say, you have to xeriscape.
Right.
Period.
It'd be easier.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier to say that and just say, at some point, your grass has to go away and it cannot be replaced by
Artificial turf.
turf.
Right.
Take 28 pages to do it then.
Right. Yeah, it's new development, so it's like whoever moves in is going to know it ahead of time.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 25-2025, an ordinance amending Title 18 of Land Development Code to prohibit non-functional turf, non-functional artificial turf, and invasive plant species to applicable development projects.
Second.
Leaving this screen. This is where you vote from. See? Don't close that window out now.
Didn't close it out. Change windows.
Getting scolded.
Tina, I vote yes.
Thank you.
And that motion passes 7-0. And last but not least,
There's more.
well, this is the group of state function.
I know.
So this next one is 26-2025. This one is to determine who we're going to allow to test and repair backflow prevention devices. Dan, I know this is going to be riveting, so can you? Oh wait, this is Dan too?
This is me too.
Oh, just
It's the
Can't get rid of me.
do it, Dan.
Okay. This one's a lot easier. During the 2025 Colorado legislative session, House Bill 25-1077 was adopted regarding the licensure and certification requirements to inspect, test, and repair backflow prevention devices. Bob had helped us to identify this earlier this year as a code that we needed to make sure that we were up to date on. The purpose of this legislation was to modernize Colorado's backflow prevention standards and clarify who is authorized to inspect, test, repair, and install these devices. It also introduced a new tagging requirement to ensure service transparency and record accuracy. Now, while the town is compliant with this legislation in practice, there are some minor inconsistencies that were found in our code that should be addressed. The attached ordinance number 27/2025, actually it'd be number 26/2025, amends section 1316.040 to address those inconsistencies. I want to thank Public Works for working with me on this. We wanted to make sure that when we made this change, it was also helpful to them. So we did some additions outside of just what the state was the state was asking us to enforce. What we did is we added that these backflow prevention devices would be receive certified inspections and at least once a year, and then we added between January 1st and June 30th at the customer and user's expense. We wanted to make sure that they understood that they had to get this done during the first portion of the year. We also made sure that they understood that if the town engineer deems that there's a problem that they might require certified inspections at more frequent intervals, again at the customer and user's expense. Individuals engaged in inspecting, testing, and repairing backflow prevention devices must either be certified cross-connection control technicians or a licensed plumber. And then lastly, individuals engaged in installation or removal of the backflow prevention devices shall hold a current state plumbing license, except when the individual is installing or replacing a backflow prevention device on a standalone fire suppression system as defined by the Colorado Revised Statutes. Again, I want to thank Public Works for helping me with this. This is definitely not my work, my place of expertise, but I wanted to make sure that your code was updated and serve you well.
So question, how are we going to enforce this? Is this going to go through I mean, we have to educate the public on this somehow, that if for some reason something needs to be swapped out by a licensed certified professional, someone's got to be checking that license to make sure it's registered with the state. They're able to do business in the town. Who's going to be enforcing this?
Normally, when these questions come up for a commercial business to get their backflow device tested, there's tags that hang on there where whoever's doing that work has to sign. They have to list their license number issued by the state, and we track all that in our documents. So if someone has one that fails, then they have a certain amount of time to get it repaired, or we end up shutting their water off. And that's under the guise of you presenting a safety risk to the town's water system.
What about outside the town's water system for customers that are residents of the town, not on the town's water supply? Or on?
Well, this only applies to commercial businesses. Residents have inline double check valves, which are usually not testable. So when they build a home and they install these devices, when our operators go in to install the meter, they look for that check backflow device. So the only things that are tested in this are commercial or / industrial.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? All right, public hearing item open for the public to discuss this ordinance for or against. Anybody here?
Line up in front of the podium.
All right, get behind Haley. Okay, seeing none. Will, anybody online?
I see no hands raised, Mayor, online.
Then we will come back and close the public hearing item. Further discussion or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 26/2025, an ordinance amending section 13.16.040F regarding licensure and certification requirements for testing and repair of backflow prevention devices.
I'll second that.
Tina, I vote yes.
It's the middle one.
Thank you.
It's blinking at you. The middle tab is blinking. Vote for me. Vote for me. You see it? There you go.
So, Mayor LaKind,
Yeah.
so I just want to thank Doug Stallworthy and Bob's office for helping me with all those fun ordinance amendment changes or documents. And again, I want to thank Public Works for stepping in and helping me with those as well. So, and thank you for listening to all of them tonight. So appreciate it.
Oh.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you for everything. Does council want 5 or you ready to keep going through? All right, we're pursuing. We'll go on to the first of our 100 resolutions.
Yeah.
You want
Need
to
a
take a
break? That's fair.
In fairness, she is here on her day off. She has taken a vacation day because of our meeting. She did not want to be here for tonight's meeting. But her arms were twisted over Chinese food to come in.
She could have done this remotely.
The floor is yours.
Danke, guten Abend. I have German guests, so I have to switch to English again. Yes, we have a slew of resolutions for you this evening. We're going to start with the first resolution, which is number 68-2025, and that's the resolution. That's the second restated budget. So as you recall, we did a restated budget in May. And this is now the second restated budget. And the reason we do a restated budget is to tabulate all the changes, anything that may have occurred, anything we need to move around so that we have a completed budget for the end of 2025. And then we will start the audit for 2025 already in January, which is really hard to believe. And then we'll audit all of those numbers, and then we'll be able to come to you with a final audited 25 budget. So that's the first resolution before you, and that budget is included in the 26 final proposed budget document. So you'll see that we added the additional columns for under all of the different spreadsheets. You'll see the second amendment that we've identified in that column if any changes were made. And then you have the final 2025 budget, so you can see what it is. And then also in that document, obviously the 26, but right now this resolution is for the 2025 budget. And so you'll need to do both. You not only adopt the restated budget, then you have to do a resolution appropriating those sums of monies. So that's the first two resolutions, 68 and 69.
And so can we do, we have to do two separate motions, but can we do them back to back?
Yes.
Okay.
These are public hearings. The first one is. It's a public hearing resolution.
The first one is a public hearing, yes.
So I just want to be, so the first and third one are, just want to be clear that this is to restate 2025.
Correct.
Okay, so anybody here want to speak for or against this resolution? We'll open up to the public. Anybody online?
No hand raised, Mayor.
All right, so we'll bring it back. Any discussion from the council on the restating of the budget?
We've gone through this a few times.
I just making sure.
No, I'm just saying for me personally, I don't have
Yeah.
anything. We've
That's
gone
what I
through
like
this,
to hear.
we've gone through this a few times.
All right, then I will look for a motion on that. You could do the first two, since the first one's public hearing, open and close. Second one is not. So
I move to approve resolution number 68-2025, a resolution adopting a second restated budget for the purpose set forth below for the town of Monument, Colorado, beginning on the first day of January 2025 and ending on the last day of December 2025, and approving resolution number 69-2025, a resolution appropriating sums of money to the various funds in the amount set forth below for the town of Monument, Colorado, beginning on the first day of January 2025 and ending on the last day of December 2025.
Second.
we have a motion and a second for both resolutions. Chad? Okay, so we got a motion and a second.
Tina, I vote yes.
Thank you.
We have one abstention.
What?
All right, first one passes 7-0.
First and second.
Oh, it's listed.
Oh, that's right.
You vote second. Yeah, but I only saw a vote for 68. Okay, so then both passed.
Oh,
All right,
Okay.
so 68 and 69 both passed 7-0. Next one is public hearing item 70-2025. This is adopting the budget for January 26, ending December 26.
correct.
We may have questions on this.
All right. I'm happy to answer any of those.
So the first, I know you all think it's important in 2026 to give the council some money, but our budget went up. I think it needs to come down for 2026. There is no reason for us to be worrying about CML for 2026. I do want to bring up, because we have not heard back yet from the county for the Fountain Creek Watershed District, that we would maybe possibly during the restate of 2026, we would look at funding our membership monies to Fountain Creek, which would mean removing it from the beginning part of the year until such time as the county decides to do the right thing and follow the actual law of the Colorado Revised Statute. It's, the council can do what it wants, but I don't think we should be contributing to an entity that we have no say in and that the county is preventing us from having a say. That's just my opinion on that.
Do we have any idea when we expect a decision?
Nope.
Hey,
Does Madeline have an opinion on that?
We also,
I can tell you what happened
oh no,
last week when I went to the board meeting. They were in agreement. The attorney and majority of the board members were in agreement that the county was not following the law. They were also in agreement that Monument should be working with the Fountain Creek Watershed District Board to rewrite the legislation so Monument is a standalone entity picking their own representation like Fountain in Colorado Springs does. But the county commissioner who runs the county commissioners doesn't see it that way. And so I don't see why we were going to participate in something that we have not gotten a benefit from it yet. Project wise, doesn't mean that we won't in the future, but we don't have an ETA, or if there ever will be one, that they are going to actually follow the revised statute and appoint Councilmember Smith to the position that he was approved for by Colorado Springs and the county's representative, Commissioner Wysong. That's like $5,000, $4,800.
Something like that, yeah.
So to me, I think it should be just removed for 6 months to give it some time, and maybe we'll still have that money in 6 months.
Do you have an opinion on that, Madeline?
Yeah, I'd like to hear the town manager.
It's definitely council's decision. If my opinion would be to leave it in the budget and we can choose to not pay the invoice until council decides. I do know that the Fountain Creek Watershed is working on applying for grants to help us with some of our creeks on the north end within our town. I believe that the organization is a good partner with us, but I would certainly respect whatever decision that the council makes.
Based on what you just said, the council wouldn't have a say over you paying the $5,000 because it's under your spending limit.
That is correct. However, it's a topic that's of importance to you, and I could certainly let you know when it arrives, and, you know, we could make the decision based on if council wants to remain part of that organization.
And is it a line item?
It's a line item, but also keep in mind that a budget is just a plan. And so literally it gets adopted tonight and it's out of date tomorrow because things just happen all the time. And so by leaving it in here does not require the payment. It does not require that the funds be expended. It's just a plan on how we could spend our monies. So we could amend it in May. There's a lots of options. We could bring an item forward and you could make a public decision. And then that money could be removed by your decision. And then we would formally remove it in May with the amended budget.
Same with the CML stuff then.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to put on record that I wanted us to see.
No, that makes sense. And I'm glad you did put it on
And
record.
thank you for that
Yes.
update too, because
Because it is a political stunt.
Mhm.
And by the same token, Fountain Creek Watershed District isn't doing it.
Right.
No, they're not. They're being supportive.
Right, totally supportive. And so it's a shame to have to punish. I mean, it's the only people we could punish, but it's not going to probably change the commissioners' minds, unfortunately.
Okay, so any other things in the budget you want to discuss? Do you want to add anything? Is there a dump truck that you forgot about, Tom?
No, but I do want to say something.
Yes.
I have been working on an efficiency report, just to kind of see where we are with other comparable municipalities in Douglas and El Paso County. As there's a lot of criteria that I put in here as far as revenue per employee, revenue per citizen, revenue per road miles, and it's a work in progress. So I'm not going to come to definite conclusions right now, but of all of the municipalities I put in, where there's several, we are the most efficient. And so kudos to you for that, by quite a bit. And when I get this all compiled, I will email it to you and you can see how great of a job you've been doing.
God. It's leadership by the town manager and leadership by the council to make some very difficult decisions. And just analytically, I would just philosophically absolutely agree. This is a very lean organization.
And unfortunately, it's mostly a revenue issue and that's something we'll have to overcome. And I also did take a look at, what moving forward with the projects that we have and assuming that there is some additional revenue that comes in. And it puts us in a pretty decent spot in 2026 and 2027. So thanks for all you've been doing here.
It's my pleasure. If you look at the long range financial forecast, the 5-year we put in there, it's definitely looking better. And I also want to thank the council for your leadership and your willingness to look at these things and make the hard decisions to really look towards the future. And I think it is. I think it's bright and I think there's lots of opportunities and being able to work together. I think this is very solvable and we've already you took really strong steps in 25 and you've taken steps in 26 and we'll continue to do that. So I thank you for your leadership.
Jennifer, can I ask on slide 13? Under expenses under the general fund, could you elaborate on expense other and then other for 2025, 2026?
Yes, that was the where the graphs, this one or not?
page
No,
13.
Page 13.
Oh, page 13?
Yeah.
Oh, that was related to, let's see, expenses. That was related to changes that we made in the planning department. So some additional expenses for the town engineer, which we're also then receiving revenue for. So we put revenue to offset some of those expenses, and it was something else. And code enforcement. We added $22,000 for code enforcement. So we're going to have a consultant firm assist us on a monthly basis with some responsive code enforcement. So those were the two charges we put in there.
Really?
Responsive, not proactive, responsive. I choose my words
Yeah,
wisely.
well, so that's under other, correct?
Other.
So, under expense other, the 3 million.
Oh, expense other, that's the payments to Tribeview. That's a property tax and the sales tax to Tribeview. So if you recall in the May amended budget, we had been accounting for the funds from an accounting standpoint. So we were doing everything totally appropriate. It's just that it hadn't been reflected in the budget. So it's basically a neutral, but I added the revenue and then I added the expense so it can be authorized by the town council and the community can see. There's always questions, how much to Tribeview and where, right? And so we have it now. So it's very clear the amount of monies that are going to Tribeview.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Anybody here in town hall that would like to speak to the 2026 budget, for or against? Seeing none. Will, anybody online?
No hands raised, Mayor.
All right, then we bring it back and close the public hearing item. Any further discussion or a motion from the council?
So question again, same question from the next two resolutions are associated, right?
Correct.
So we can do one motion for both.
Yes. According to the town clerk, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, I make a motion to approve resolution number 70-2025, a resolution adopting a budget for the purposes set forth below for the town of Monument, Colorado, beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026, and approving resolution number 71-2025, a resolution appropriating sums of money to the various funds in the amounts set forth below for the town of Monument, Colorado, beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026.
I second both.
We have motion and seconds.
Did you say
Seconds.
Tina, I vote yes.
Thank you.
What is this?
I'm a yes. I can't find.
I got it.
Those motions passed 7-0. We'll move on to resolution 67, 2025, to authorize a certification of the property tax mill levy to the El Paso County Assessor for fiscal year 2026, beginning January, ending December.
Mm-hmm. And so this is the mill levy, and council directed us to go to the full levy amount that is allowed by law. And so that's what's before you in this resolution. We do need to adopt this by December 15th. However, we get the information from the county very, very late. And so this may require an amendment, a change in the resolution that we may bring to you on December 15th in case the calculation is different from what we calculated. And we're talking 0.1%. We're not talking any big numbers. So just a heads up that the county gives us a very short turnaround. And so for right now, adopt this, but know that it may come back to you in 2 weeks.
Okay, we do this every year.
Yep.
This is not a public hearing item. Any questions about the mill levy raise that we've discussed?
Well, I would like to just make it clear that we're not raising anything.
Right.
This was our mill levy. We lowered it temporarily last year, and we just have to bring it back to the current rate. And we just can't give a discount anymore. That's all it is, really.
Thank you for the clarification.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 67-2025, a resolution to authorize the certification of the property tax mill levy to the El Paso County Assessor for the fiscal year 2026, beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026.
Second.
Tina, I vote yes.
Okay.
Do you have everybody's vote? You have to say it.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes 7-0. Last resolution is confirming the 5% franchise fee for the Town of Monuments Water Enterprise Fund. Ms. Phillips.
So we talked about this a couple of times, and I have, to my great joy, yet another clarification of information that I provided to the council. So I want to make sure that it's very clear of the process that we're going through. And so I listed the history. So in 1987, the first ordinance was passed for a 12% franchise fee on the water fund. That was reduced in 2000 to 2%. And then gross revenues were clearly defined by another resolution in 2001, but it stated a 2% franchise fee. In 2005, it was reduced. One was to establish that the council may change the franchise fee by resolution in 2005, and in 2006 it was reduced to 0. In 2018, a 5% franchise fee was reinstated into the budget. But as I mentioned, we were unable to find any council action that initiated that. But it is part of the budget, and ultimately, when the council approves the budget, you're approving that expense and revenue between the two funds. But as I mentioned, that was caught by the auditor. And so we're bringing forward a formal resolution confirming that 5% fee. And I had mentioned that we had discontinued that fee in 2025 in the budget, but I was incorrect. We continued that fee. We discussed whether we needed to discontinue it because we didn't have council authority, but the auditor felt since we'd been doing it since 2018, and if we brought this before the next budget, we would be fine. And so that's what we're doing. And so that fee has been in place since 2018, and we've been charging it to the water fund. And so what this resolution does is it just confirms by council decision adoption that we're going to continue to charge the water fund that fee.
Is there what's the last ordinance setting the fee versus resolution?
The last ordinance was 2010. No, it was 2000 that reduced it to 2%. And then in 2001, they just wanted to redefine gross revenues. So they just made it more clear what gross revenue, how you would calculate the franchise fee off of gross revenues, what gross revenues were. So the fee was established in 1987. At 12%, it was reduced to 2% in 2000.
Those were ordinances, so those are laws.
Correct.
Do we have an actual law establishing the current rate of which we are going to charge, or is it by resolution?
So in 2005, there was an ordinance that stated the council could change the franchise fee by resolution.
Oh.
So that
just seems
odd.
Odd.
Yes.
And I don't know that I agree with that.
We can change that.
I don't have a problem with us setting it today, but I think we should have an ordinance that comes back that says that these fees should, do we change any other fee by resolution, or are they changed by law?
So,
We've
Mr.
gone
Mayor,
through enough fees.
What, Bob?
yeah, I just jump in. We have added to your code in a couple of different places authority to set a variety of fees, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I know within this last year we have adopted ordinances that have gone into your code that allow the fee setting to be done by resolution to give you just a little more flexibility.
Okay. the fact that it's been going back and forth for a couple decades just is a little off-putting. Because it's willy-nilly. The wind changes and the next thing you know is there's going to be no fee, and then you're going to have to bring the fee back. And it just seems like we need to establish this thing to have teeth and just let it ride for its intended purpose.
I mean, they're really from our standpoint, from a work standpoint, bringing forward a resolution or bringing forward an ordinance is not that, it's no different to us. The ordinance is obviously, it's a law. And so if you would prefer that, we can certainly make that change.
We can worry about it in 2026, see if.
Yeah, put it on the.
Okay. Any other comments or questions or concerns? Look for a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 72-2025, a resolution confirming a 5% franchise fee for the Town of Monument Water Enterprise Fund.
Second.
Your motion is second.
Yes.
Thank you. Santa, can I get your vote?
I approve. I vote yes, Tina.
Thank you.
All right, that motion passes 7-0. We go back to your German friends now.
Thank you very much. Dankeschön.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, and thank you very much for your leadership and your support and your patience through this process. We had a lot of new information come up this year, and I just want to thank you. You were really great to work with, and I look forward to the years ahead.
We're lucky to have you. So.
Amen.
Yeah, and for all that we have had to go through for the last year plus, thank you for setting the sails, right, and getting us on the tracks aligned. I know it reads differently over the news cycles that we've had going through this, but in the end, now that we've got the right people in place that are transparent and do not hide things from the council, we can go a lot of places. Now just we need people to spend money in the
I
town.
agree. I absolutely agree.
So thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to move on to public hearing, although I'm not expecting public comments, hearings, comments. Individuals attending in person may raise their hand to indicate their desire to comment. Individuals attending via Teams may raise their hand digitally to comment via connected devices. Please lower your hand when finished with your comments. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Is there anybody here in town hall that would like to speak during public comment? Mr. Kimple.
No one wants to speak. No one. No.
I'm here first. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Haley Chapin from Tri-Lakes Cares. I just wanted to share with you additional thanks for the turkey collection that you did and helping us meet the needs of the community. Just want to report for our November holiday food distribution, we served over 200 households in our community. So that equates to over 500 people in our local community here in northern El Paso County who are struggling to put food on the table. Every little bit from the community helps. And so I just wanted to say thank you again for your support in that. And we're gearing up to serve just slightly over that number for December holiday food. And so unfortunately, the need continues, but we are happy to be able to be there to assist and grateful for your support in helping us do so. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online, Will, that would like to speak?
I see no hand raised, Mayor.
All right, we'll close public comments. Future agenda item authorization. Anything, Ms. Vandenhoek?
Mr. Mayor, I do not have anything for tonight.
I feel like the entire night has been a letdown now.
She's still on the
But
Paul
you've
time.
done great work. So.
She's on to Paul time. Any comments from council?
Just a quick thank you to all of the staff. This is one of those meetings where you get to see the level of professionalism and work that the staff puts into running the town, even when we have a central planning commission that's telling them how to do it. So
You know, that
Thank you to the
that
staff.
reminds me of
Thank you.
Frank Zappa song where he called them the central scrutinizers. Any other council comments?
Yeah, I want to go back to, we've had this discussion about the color schemes.
Yes.
What is it going to take to put in the amendment to fix it in the ordinance now instead of waiting for a rewrite that's going to happen years from now?
Is Dan still on? Good,
He is not.
All right, so why don't you,
Or can we task the planning commission who can make recommendations on changes and start with them and have them drafted up and bring it up to us for a vote?
the design standards are going to become part of the comp plan, are they not?
They are, yes, and something that we should have public comment on, so public input on.
But we can do this now instead of waiting for this comp plan that's going to take years.
The comp plan should be done but in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost done.
Spring 2026.
I just feel like we're going to keep circling the wagon.
We
on
can just
this
put in, we
discussion.
could make an ordinance that says no white.
Yeah. So that's my comment.
Okay,
White's not a color anyway, did you?
Bone white.
bone white, yeah, okay, any other comments? All right, so before we go into executive session, we are going to be coming back from executive session for the possibility of making a decision. So we'll come back into public. So who would like to read us into executive session?
I will make a motion to move into executive session pursuant to 24 Tax 6 Tax 402 Sub 4 Sub B CRS for a conference with the town attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions regarding the intergovernmental agreement establishing the Loop Water Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And I'm voting yes. I got out of the screen. Sorry, Tina.
I'm voting yes.
I vote yes, Tina.
Problem at that end.
All right, thank you.
I was just, I got excited and
7-0.
7-0. Right. The motion passes 7-0. We'll go in executive session. We'll take a few minutes to get everything situated. Thank you for those who attended. All right, if everybody is back, we have Chad's back, Bob's back. You're back
I'm
from
back.
executive session.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay. So the topic is that we have an invoice to pay. The invoice is part of our 2025 appropriated funds from the budget for the Loop Authority. Any discussion amongst the council members about this?
Yeah, that was the only thing I was going to bring up, was that this has been part of the budget, so this isn't an additional expense, but it's contractual.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, I understand it was part of the budget, it's contractual, and it's to continue funding for studies necessary.
Engineering and design.
Yeah. Engineering design and other studies. I get it. I will say I'm not excited about the continuation of everything and how long it's taking, but I do partially understand it. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so is it the consensus of the council that I approve this invoice to be paid by the town to the Loop Authority?
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
to avoid any legal problem.
Okay,
So do we need an official vote or
is
just?
an official motion to, I don't know, Bob, do you want us to do a motion or is the consensus enough?
Because it's over the manager's spending authority, I think you should do a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the Loop Authority bill for $107,143.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Have to do a roll call. I vote yes. I'm logged out.
And that motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
We are adjourned.